So in the last video, I showed you how I ventilated my Organic MasterMix closure to give it a more natural look. This video is going to give you a more in-depth look at that. Plus this time I'm going to ventilate it before I sew it onto a wig cap so that it's a much more smoother, easier application. Hi guys, Creme here with Elon Blue Talks, where I help you to create stunning wigs through easy to follow steps, explore simple protective hairstyle options, and share tips on growing healthy, beautiful hair naturally. If you haven't already, go ahead and press that subscribe button right down below to catch more videos just like this. All links in this video is going to be in the description box below. So let's jump right into it. As you can see in the very front, there is ventilating in the part area. But as you go towards the front, it gets very dense, and that is where you'll find the issue. The tracks run all the way to the hairline, which really does not complement the hairline at all. It doesn't give it a very natural look. So we're gonna just air that area out and just make it look a lot more natural. So this is a beautiful wig hacking moment, and I'm gonna take advantage of it today. If you're on a budget, if you're looking to save some money, why not give this a try? Before we even start, what is ventilating? Cambridge Dictionary defines ventilating as causing fresh air to enter and move around a closed space. But in the hair world, ventilating is a knotting technique that creates an even distribution of hair strands around the area, giving the illusion of natural hair and scalp. This gives the area more movement and flow, which just gives it a much more natural finish and look. It's just pretty much airing out that space. Typically with wigs, there are tracks that kind of create a very dense area. In the world of hair, that is what we are doing when we are ventilating, just applying those small strands of hairs to a particular area to help that area to breathe, honey, breathe. So let's list the tools that we're going to be using. We are going to be using a Sharpie, particularly a Sharpie that contrasts the lace that you're using. And I'll show you the difference in that as the video continues. You are going to need a seam ripper, thread. I'm using brown, but you can use whatever thread you'd prefer. You are also going to need a ventilating needle, as well as T-pins, 4 preferably. Scissors, of course. I didn't feel like going to pick it up, so I just used my hand motion. And of course, you don't want to forget your mannequin head. All right, so step 1, we are going to take that Sharpie. I'm using a silver Sharpie. The contrast on that is perfect. It makes it very much so visible. You're gonna take that Sharpie and mark out how far down you want the ventilation to go. For my unit, I'm only going about 1 inch down. As you can see, that gold Sharpie did not show up very well, so I went back over and used the silver. Like I said, a contracting Sharpie is ideal if you want to be able to see. Of course, you could kind of see with the gold, but for this video, I knew that a very contracting Sharpie would work the best. Plus, you won't be able to see that area anyway, so it doesn't really matter if it shows too much. Even a white Sharpie, if you had it, would work too. Step 2, we are going to start using the seam ripper to remove the stitching off the closure, stopping right at that marking area. At this phase of the process, you really want to take your time with this. There's no need to rush. The smoother you are with this, the gentler you are with this, the more you'll preserve the lace. So taking your time with this is ideal. If you are rushing and don't have a lot of time, maybe save this process for another time. You really just want to take your time with things so that you have the best of everything that you own. I've recently decided to like get rid of a whole bunch of stuff because I really just wanted to like declutter my life, lessen a lot of stuff that I just had just around that I thought for whatever reason that I needed, but really don't. For the most part, I would prefer to have quality over quantity. So even in my work and in the things that I do, I know that taking my time in order to produce a quality result is ideal versus just trying to push things out as quickly as possible. We've heard the term before, quality over quantity. There's some truth in that. So this is that moment, this is that time when finding spare time, spare moment to really invest effort into something worthwhile. Yes, I know this is just a wig and you know, the world is like filled with so many other things that could be looked at as more important to spend your time on, but you know, your appearance and how you present yourself to the world is important. So why not spend a little bit of time, you know, dedicating that moment to yourself, to how you present yourself to the world. I think it's really important. So as I'm removing the thread, I'm also just cutting off those extra pieces because it just moves it out of the way so that you're not distracted by it, as well as you're able to see the next piece of thread that you need to pull out. So just keeping things very clean in that area and keeping the momentum up helps to keep the efficiency up as well. So those scissors come in handy throughout this whole process. Again, just remember guys to take your time with this. Punctures can form in the lace pretty easily, so sometimes even unavoidably. Taking your time and being gentle with this process will definitely minimize the holes, which is the goal. We really, at this point of the process, we really want to minimize holes and punctures in the lace. Now, you won't be able to avoid it completely, but minimizing is the goal. So I really chose to show this whole process because I didn't want to speed through this process and have you guys thinking that this is just a cakewalk or a walk in the park. It definitely is going to take a little bit of effort and a little bit of time, because the this company made the tracks really durable, and the closure very durable. So it definitely speaks to the quality of the closure itself, that it takes this much time to take out the thread. You know, you don't want this threading to be easily removed. That means it just wasn't even applied very firmly or very durably, you know. So the fact that it does take a little bit of time and effort, it speaks to the quality. So it's okay. Once you've lifted the tracks off of the closure, all you'll have to do is cut that piece off. As you prepare to cut, make sure to move all of the ventilated center part hair to one side into a braid or some kind of ponytail or tie up or something, so that it's out of the way. All of the hair that you have on the cut-in side of your closure should be tracks. None of them should be ventilated hair, so that you can see what you are cutting. The last thing you want to do is cut your ventilated center part hair off. So just to avoid that, make everything very nice and clean and efficient as possible. Cut only to the indicated line. The less you remove, the less you'll have to ventilate. So that's why I'm only working with 1 inch of ventilated area, because it's going to be less for me to ventilate. And really, I mean, especially in the front, you don't really need that much. I could have even maybe gotten away with cutting off even maybe a 1/2 inch of hair and working only with a 1/2 inch of ventilated area. But I decided to do an inch. An inch wasn't too bad. The whole process, I think, on both sides probably took about 4 hours. So yeah, set aside those pieces that you cut off. You don't want to throw them away. You are going to need them for ventilating. Unless you have some extra pieces of hair lying around, you're gonna need these. So set them aside, you'll be using them again. Cut off about 18 inches of thread, guide it through the eye of the needle, knot the ends together. For some of you who know how to sew or at least know how to stitch, you already know this process, but for those who don't, there you go. Now we're going to secure the cut ends. We don't want to leave them loose because they may start to unravel, and we don't want that. Quality, remember, quality over quantity. So we're going to do all that we need to do to make sure that this closure is at its best. To secure the whips cut ends back onto the lace, I am using an over-under stitching technique. For those of you, again, who know how to sew, this process will be simple. For those who aren't that familiar with the needle and thread, all we're doing is pushing the needle through the width from above, grabbing the needle from below, pulling the thread through, and then repeating that process 4 times. So for each width or for each track, you're going to do that process exactly the same. So 4 times, and 4 times is just to make sure that it's secure. We don't want it to unravel or loosen up. We just want it to make sure it's very, very much so secure. So again, we're just going to secure the width that we cut back onto the lace with an over-under stitching. 1, you're going to push it through the width from above. 2, you're going to grab the needle from below. 3, you're going to pull the thread through. And then 4, you're just going to repeat that process 4 times for each width. One thing you want to be mindful of, make sure that you are piercing the needle through the width and not just through the hair. You really want to make sure that width is attached to the lace. Move the hair out of the way and pin it down with your thumb and your index finger if you need to in order to see better, but you definitely want to make sure that that needle is going through the width, not just through the hair, because the hair can move and then that might loosen up the stitching. So just to avoid that, again, quality over quantity. And plus, you just don't want to have to do it all over again or readjust it later on. You want this wig to last as long as possible. you reach completion, knot the ends by stitching upward through the lace. With the needle sticking out of the lace, wrap the loose thread twice around the needle and then pull the needle through the lace. Pull the thread firmly enough to create a knot, and bam, you have your knot. Super easy, super simple. But yes, watch the video a couple times if you have to. If you're not really, used to sewing or stitching, watch the video a couple times, but you'll get it. It's very simple. Make sure for efficiency, the side that you are currently not working on is in the braid or in some kind of tie, so that is out of the way. So now the fun part. Not really. Well, it could be fun for some people. Here is the creme de la creme of this whole process. With your mannequin facing you, place the closure onto your mannequin head. Use T-pins on the corner of your lace to secure. Make sure the section of the lace that you are working on is as flat as possible. Grab a cut piece of whipped hair and remove the track. See, I told you you was gonna need that track again, so don't throw it away. Now is the time. This is the time, the moment. Once you've cut the track off of the whip, fold the top portion about 2.5 inches down. Hold the hair comfortably in your resting hand as you hold the ventilating needle in your operating hand. Start ventilating where the track ends and move towards the hairline. Grab only about 1 to 2 strands of hair at a time and get in the habit of pulling the hair away from you. The last thing you want is for that needle to kind of like strike you. It looks delicate, but that thing is monstrous if you ever get poked with it, or if anything gets attached to it that you don't want attached to it. There's a little hook at the point of the hook. You have the gold frame, and then you have a hook on that frame. What you can't see, if you're not familiar with a ventilating needle, is there's a hook on the hook, which helps you to grab the hair, but it grabs anything it gets attached to. So yeah, make sure you are ventilating with the needle going away from you and not towards you, because that's just dangerous. It's crazy because I would have never thought that I would be spending time ventilating. I remember seeing like videos of people ventilating online and just seeing that process, and I was like, oh no, ain't no way I'm gonna spend that much time, you know, putting these small little pieces of hairs onto my wigs. There's no way. That's why crocheting and making the wigs the way I make them, especially my crochet wigs, was so appealing to me, because though it does take a little bit of time, it doesn't take nearly as much time as ventilating a wig. Guys, I can't stress this enough. Remember to take your time with this whole process, particularly if you are new to ventilating in general, as I am. So in this video, you will definitely see me taking my time and working through this. I will get better and quicker and faster as the process go along. I've noticed, like, this is a repetition kind of process. So just by the nature of the whole process, you get better as you go along. So just be patient with it, guys. Practice makes you better. So don't feel like you need to be great at it the first time. It's okay if you're not. It gets better. I promise you, it gets better. I chose to make this video a little bit longer so you can see the full process without any speed up or too many cuts, because I really wanted you to know what really goes into this process. I did a couple of close-ups as well, even though it may not be as visible to see this process. So I am going to attach a link from another YouTuber who I learned this process from. He has great visuals that I think is very helpful if you're new to the process. This is one of those things that you really have to do it. You have to practice it. You have to get the needle in your hand. You got to put the lace on a mannequin hand, and you just got to jump right into it. That's the only way you're going to get better at this. You get faster. It looks better. It's just an amazing process once you've gotten the hang of it. So take your time, guys. Take your time. This is one of those turtle in the hair processes where you're not here to rush through it. You are here to take it slow and steady and get to the finish line. Slow and steady wins the race with this one. So put on some good tunes, you know, burn some incense, open up the windows, let the sun come in. Maybe even take this time to do a little bit of sitting meditation. Let your mind wander, or let your thoughts go, and just use this time to really like be with yourself, you know? It's just amazing that you can do this and in 4 hours have something to show for it. So yeah, enjoy the process, man. It's a beautiful thing. I'm going to try to find a diagram that I can either attach onto the video or place in the description box below so that it can give you a better visual of the ventilating process. I will do my best to find that diagram, and in the meantime, there are plenty of YouTubers who ventilate expertly that can definitely help out with that. So this process was really just to show you a hacking moment where you can take a center part closure and turn it into a seemingly laced finish. really shocking that now I'm like really into ventilating. The results, like what you get out of it is like amazing. So it just makes it all worth it. Like I would have never thought. I would have never thought. It's actually not that long if you only do certain areas. So for instance, I only cut for this particular video or this particular unit. I only cut 1 inch off the front. 1 inch. So all I gotta do is do that much ventilating and I'm done. I'm done. Because the front is all that you're gonna see anyway. So, you know, for me per se, for the wigs that I wear, I'm not gonna be doing too many kind of crazy updos and styles and bantu knots and stuff. If I decide to do that, then of course the process gets a little bit longer. But until I decide to do that, this little front area is good enough for me. that is it. You have the before on one end and the after on the other. And that is where we're gonna stop today. I am gonna do a part 2 so that you can see both sides finished and just how the comparison is just so drastic. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do share with your friends and your family. And until next time, peace.